could you tell us a bit about your first period and sort of your memory of that and how you came to learn about it?
Oh God, well we were taught a bit about it in school. We never talked about it at home.
Okay.
My sister-in-law, who was married at the time, did sometimes mention periods, but it wasn't very open.
Yeah.
And my first period, I sort of didn't tell anybody.
Kept it to yourself.
I didn't quite understand it because I was in a lot of pain all night. I wasn't actually bleeding, but I had period pain.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I think the following day I sort of mentioned it to my sister-in-law that I started, but it wasn't, talked about.
Yeah.
So it was quite hush hush.
So when I came on period, I was in school uniform, and I came home and I used toilet, and then I seen the blood on my clothes, and I was just like, I'm sure I did not done anything. Like I didn't jump, I didn't hurt myself. I don't know what's happened to me. So I went running to my mom and I said, I promise, Mom, this time I promise I did not done anything naughty. I was a naughty child. So I was like, I did not done anything bad. I don't know, but I'm bleeding. Yeah, she said, where are you bleeding? She checked my hands and she must be like, knees bleeding. I said, no, I'm bleeding down there. And I don't know why, but I didn't understand why. I didn't know. So I was just crying. And then she held my hand, she took me to the toilet, she's explained me his period. We don't call in Pakistan his period, we call menses. So she said it's menses, every girls go through that. And then that's it, that's all the journey was started. And then again, it was no pads back in days, it was a cloth. You have to wash it, put it out in the afternoon to dry it and reuse it. So
really no reuse.
Yeah, reusable clothes. The pads we used to do it ourselves, and then we used to check it out, and then next month Mom gave us the new material. That's like the new one. So that's how I start my periods.
My phrase is namaz nahi hai. It means I can't pray in Urdu. I am a Muslim and we pray 5 times a day. When I'm on my period, we are exempt from praying, but we still get the same amount of rewards as someone praying daily. Our design resembles a prayer mat, and it was designed by Naz and Yaz. We are birth sisters.
I think growing up, we never really knew like the formal word for period, but the kind of phrase that I would link it with is shor al-haraf, so like unwell body. And me and Mum were just talking about it, and she mentioned that the formal word is mashik, which like literally never heard of before until like literally a few days ago when we were talking about this workshop. I guess what I find really interesting is shor al-haraf, like you could, when you get like the flu or the virus or like a tummy ache, like you'd refer it to as that, right? And there's shor al-haraf, so it's very much keeping it still quite hidden, like you're not actually addressing like the period itself. And Mum mentioned that as well. She's like, it's just to keep it like quite hidden.
My youngest sister has a very, really heavy flow, and she has so much pain, it's unbearable. And I've told her for years, get it checked, please. Just go to the doctor, tell them. If you don't want to get it checked, you don't want to answer for it, that's fine, but tell them just in case something happens. But she's always been like, no, it's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, that's how I know that it's very stigmatized, because I advocate for periods. When I do it, my little sister, who's younger than me, is like, don't about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's awkward. It's embarrassing. But yeah, don't talk about it. And I'm just like, but this is literally what I do for work. This is literally what I'm passionate about.
My daughter started growing up and they sort of started talking about it. Why are we hiding this, Mum? Why is this happening? Why? So like, for instance, during Ramadan, we're allowed not to keep a fast. Because you're considered not clean. So, but we still have to get up in the middle of the night to do the sehri. We're expected to, because we don't want the men to know that.
So you were almost hiding it even during Ramadan.
Yeah.
So growing up in the South Asian community, you do at home are kind of like, you're always hearing about like what you shouldn't do or what you can't touch or where you can't go or things like that. So I think just letting all of those superstitions go. And if there happen to be any tradition or custom that I do take forward for whatever reason, I would make sure that I would explain the reason behind that activity that we do or the reason why we do something. Because I think for me, what really bothered me was I never had that explanation. It was just, this is how it's always been. So we just have to do it. And it made no sense. And then that's infuriating. So I think if I were to have a daughter, for example, in the future, that's definitely something I've learned from my own experiences.
Our phrase is ladies' problem. In Indian culture, periods aren't always openly talked about, especially with men. So when you do want to reference it, if you're in a mixed environment, you'll say, oh, it's just a lady's problem, don't worry about it.
When you talk about generational trauma,
Yeah.
it just shakes me.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, even my mum, she's 83 now, and when she talks to me about periods, she'll whisper the word
Yeah.
period. Because she will not make herself say it out loud.
That's shame still attached all them years on.
Absolutely. How it begins is how it shapes us as women.
Yeah.
And for me as a 12-year-old, hiding away what is so normal and natural and out of my control.
Yeah.
It's sort of like generational, right?
Yeah.
My mom was taught
Yeah.
by her mom to not talk about it.
Yeah.
And then that's the same thing she taught me.
Yeah.
But then when my cousin, my sister, she got her period, I told her that it's okay. Like, if you want to talk about it, you talk about it. It's fine. And then my aunt was telling me that when she got her first period, my dad was the only one at home. And my dad and her are twins.
Oh, wow.
So, she got her period, and the first reaction she had was like, oh my God, something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And then she discussed it with my dad, and then someone was at home who helped her out. And then when my grandmom came home, she actually scolded her. She's like, why would you mention it in front of your brother? So then she was told, but then she has made sure that her kids don't feel the same way. She's discussed it with them.
Yeah.
And that's what I want everyone in the family to do as well. I wanted to stop somewhere and not become a generational thing.
You work in healthcare, right? Yeah, exactly. I always suffered with painful periods, and that was very much something that was like overlooked whenever I used to raise it with like the GP or doctors and things. Even like in A&E, I remember one occasion, they'd kind of like roll their eyes at you and be like, seriously, you're here for like period pain? And just being dismissed again and again and again, like repeatedly. Start thinking, are you kind of over exaggerating, or you kind of like gaslit into thinking like, this is totally normal. Period pains, you just kind of need to suck it up and get on with it. Other things are chucked at you, so like medication and the pill, not actually getting down to the root of why you're suffering. It was only until last year when I was formally diagnosed with endometriosis and adenomyosis that I felt like I found some answers, even though I feel like my sister had said all along that I probably had something like that. But it was only after the surgery that was confirmed, and really opened my eyes. And it helps in a way because you know that there's a reason behind your pain. I think if I wasn't a healthcare professional, things would probably look a bit different. But I think I have read as well, statistically, it takes about, 8 to 10 years for someone to be diagnosed with endometriosis, and mine took about near enough 10 years. That whole process, you're left thinking that periods should be debilitating, that, it should be affecting your quality of life, and even like community or some family members might mention things like, oh, but, we also had to go through periods, and it's just this constant like shutting you down. But luckily between my sisters and my mum, they're always very supportive and kind of always encouraged me to seek help. The word we picked was Shoril Kharaf, which translates as unwell body in Bangla. It's pretty general, and you could be talking about a stomachache or literally the sniffles, which is crazy. I guess it keeps the period itself hidden and you're not directly acknowledging it. Mum and I picked out the tie-dye print as the main square background. The red swirls basically represent the period itself. The red cutout droplets symbolise the female members of my family, so the 4 smaller drips are my 3 sisters and I, and the 1 large drop is Mum. But it is swimming amongst a sea of other colours, i.e. other conditions, so it stays hidden.
I think in terms of menstrual health, I definitely feel changes are happening in a much
faster way in India. There are certain policies which are upfront for menstrual health leaves, for women to normalize the conversation of its setting. Even I've taken menstrual leaves, and that was not questioned by anyone. There's also a very big urban-rural divide that we are facing in such a big economy. I think we need more feminism in rural areas to uplift women, because in rural areas there's no washroom facilities for women to take care of their personal hygiene. So I think there's still a lot of work to do. So we need to start making conversations not just among women, but also involve a lot of men in these conversations. Because even in government, even in policy making, there are so many men who are leading the world right now. We need more women up there. We need women who can, teach them that this is which is also a priority. We have our sustainable development goals, but they'll not go anywhere if we don't follow an intersection of everything. So we need to involve everyone in the conversation.
And it feels quite tiring, right? To constantly go to all these appointments, go to A&E, go to all these doctors, and you're trying to convince them that your pain is real and that you're actually struggling. With it.
I think I always highlight this as well, but I just find it really disheartening that the majority of medical team that I would kind of approach, they were female doctors, and that kind of empathy or that understanding of how vast and how differently people experience periods. It isn't really, and I don't know if it's whether it's a thing of maybe things aren't taught in depth during medical school, or I think generally just female health is so heavily overlooked. There's new treatments coming out for ways of managing symptoms, but there still isn't a breakthrough way of figuring out how do we actually treat the actual cause of endometriosis.
I think something that would make it easier to have conversations in my family, my community, would just to be more open and not feel so ashamed. Because at the end of the day, every woman is either going to experience it, is experiencing it, or has experienced it. And the truth is, a lot of us go through a lot of pain, and just having open communication to the point where it doesn't feel like it's a silly thing to talk about. Because of that, then you'll be able to reach out for help more. You're able to ask questions more. When something feels wrong, you can talk about it with other people, because I guess that's where a lot of health conditions come into play, where you don't know whether this is just the way that I should be feeling or this is bad, because no one really would talk about it really like that. You just know that it's painful and you have to deal with it. And that's just the bottom line.